In late January 2024, a drone attack targeted Tower 22, a U.S. logistics outpost in Jordan's northeast, near the borders with Iraq and Syria. The attack resulted in the loss of 3 U.S. soldiers, with 34 others wounded. So why did this attack happen, and why does the U.S. have a base here anyway? Let's find out together in this week's episode of Explained. Nestled near the demilitarized zone on the Jordan-Syria border, Tower 22 is an American strategic outpost along a sandy berm that marks the DMZ's southern edge. Merely 10 kilometers from the Iraqi border, this installation resides in the expansive and historically significant region of Rukban. Once the site of a refugee camp during the emergence of the Islamic State group in 2014, with a peak population exceeding 100,000. The area has undergone recent changes. The base evolved significantly with an increased U.S. presence after American forces entered Syria in late 2015. Today, Tower 22 houses approximately 350 U.S. Army and Air Force personnel, specializing in domains such as engineering, aviation, logistics, and security operations. The U.S. maintains approximately 750 bases in over 80 countries worldwide, aiming to ensure global stability, respond to crises, and keep conflicts away from American shores. When combined with the Navy's 11 supercarriers, these bases represent power projection. When compared to the U.S., China currently operates only one overseas military base in Africa, indicating a more limited military infrastructure beyond its borders. Some of U.S. bases like Germany's Ramstein Air Base are massive, covering over 5,000 acres and housing over 50,000 military personnel, while others, like Tower 22, are notably small. What is interesting is that in recent months, U.S. bases in the Middle East, ranging from the smaller military outpost like Tower 22 in Jordan to the larger Al-Assad Air Base in western Iraq, have become targets of attacks orchestrated by militias with ties to Iran. Jordan hosts about 3,000 U.S. troops, while 2,500 are stationed in Iraq under the coalition against the resurgence of the Islamic State, which still poses a threat. In Syria, approximately 900 U.S. personnel support the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces in the northeast, despite opposition from the Syrian government, which considers it an occupation. The U.S. also maintains several more bases across the Middle East, including 3 major air bases in the Gulf and a port in Bahrain. Now that we've seen the U.S. extensive military presence in the Middle East, why and who claimed responsibility for the recent drone attack on Tower 22? The claim of responsibility for the attack came from a group called the Islamic Resistance in Iraq, as stated in a Telegram post a few days after the incident. Originating in late 2023, right after the beginning of Israel's bombardment in Gaza, in response to Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th, the Islamic Resistance in Iraq comprises Iran-affiliated militias. It has been linked to various recent attacks against U.S. forces. The term Islamic Resistance in Iraq is believed to encompass several Shia militia groups, with one of them suspected of orchestrating the Tower 22 attack. In fact, according to the U.S. government, there are indications that an Iranian Shahed drone was utilized in the attack, and a spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Defense mentioned that the assault exhibited the footprints of Kataib Hezbollah, part of the Islamic Resistance in Iraq. Tehran refers to these networks as the Axis of Resistance, positioning them as a defensive front against perceived adversaries such as the U.S. and Israel. The creation of such groups aims to complicate attributing attacks to specific culprits, adding a layer of ambiguity for Washington. In any case, the White House responded by approving airstrikes on Iranian personnel and facilities in Syria and Iraq, targeting around 85 sites associated with pro-Iranian forces. On February 15th, US officials announced a cyber attack against an Iranian spy ship too. So what are your thoughts on the recent events in the Middle East? Share your insights and opinions in the comments below. And if you found this video interesting, make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content.